Let's jump right in, because today's explainer completely flips our traditional understanding of intelligence totally on its head. I mean, we've all been taught, pretty much since day one, right, that confidence is the absolute ultimate mark of intelligence. The smartest person in the room is the one who's most sure of themselves. But what if psychology actually suggests the exact opposite? So, let's dive into this. We're looking at a massive paradigm shift today. It's the idea that constant self-doubt, the kind that makes you question your own conclusions over and over again, is actually a high IQ trait. It's this incredible concept called intellectual humility, and honestly, it's the hidden metric that absolutely separates true geniuses from the overly confident.
Seriously, have you ever noticed that the absolute loudest person in the room is so often the one who knows the least? I think we can all totally relate to this frustrating lived experience. Picture it. You're in a meeting or maybe at a dinner party, and someone is just holding court. They are speaking with absolute, unwavering certainty on this incredibly complex topic, despite maybe having watched exactly one, 5-minute video about it. Zero doubts in their mind. But meanwhile, the actual expert, the person who has literally studied this topic for years, is just sitting there quietly, carefully questioning their own conclusions before they even open their mouth. It feels entirely backwards, doesn't it? But as we'll see, that quiet hesitation, it's actually a profound marker of raw brain power.
Okay, moving right along to Section 1, the confidence illusion.
Let's think about the confident novice for a second. When you only view the surface of a problem, well, of course it looks simple. And because it looks simple, you feel completely certain. There's literally no friction in your thinking. It's a straight line. But compare that to the quiet expert. Highly intelligent people, they see the world in layers. It's like a giant puzzle to them. When you look at a problem and your brain instantly recognizes, say, 1,000 different variables and potential outcomes, you naturally become way more cautious. You aren't quiet because you lack knowledge. You are cautious because you actually grasp the sheer overwhelming complexity of what you're looking at.
Which brings us to Section 2. The humility paradox.
So what we're really talking about here is metacognitive IQ. And psychologists actually consider this to be the rarest form of intelligence out there. It goes way, way beyond just, memorizing facts or acing some standardized test. Metacognitive IQ is literally the ability to think about your own thinking. It means you can actively monitor your own biases in real time. Highly intelligent individuals do this thing called cognitive detachment. While most of us might just react emotionally to a problem, folks with high metacognitive IQ can essentially step back and observe their own logic as if it were entirely separate from them. They can actually look at their own thoughts and say, wait, is this actually true, or is this just my bias talking right now?
There's this great saying, updating your beliefs when presented with new evidence is intelligence in action. And the absolutely crucial point here is that we really need to reframe how we view changing our minds. In our culture, changing your mind is so often treated as this huge weakness, almost like backing down from a schoolyard fight. But intellectual humility means realizing you aren't fighting to win an argument at all. You're fighting to understand the actual truth. So if new evidence proves you wrong, adjusting your mental strategy isn't a defeat. Actually, scratch that. It's the exact opposite. It's a massive victory for your intellect.
Let's jump into Section 3, the Dunning-Kruger Effect. Now, you might already be familiar with the Dunning-Kruger Effect, but it is a brutal sign of low-level thinking. This whole phenomenon basically plays out in 3 distinct ways. First up, limited understanding creates this massive illusion of clarity. Because a person simply doesn't know enough to see all those underlying complexities we talked about earlier, everything just seems rigidly black and white to them. Second, because of this false clarity, changing opinions is treated as a total weakness. They lock into this rigid mindset and defend it at all costs, no matter what. But the third piece, and honestly this is the most important takeaway for us, is that high competence leads to a higher awareness of your own knowledge gaps. Basically, as your competence actually grows, your awareness of what you don't know grows right alongside it.
All right, Section 4, the true social master.
Most people operate under the assumption that admitting they're wrong will instantly make them lose respect. But the deeply ironic reality here is that the I already know attitude is actually the absolute fastest way to destroy your authority. Just think about a manager you've had who never, ever listens to feedback. When you stop being curious, people stop seeing you as wise, right? They just start seeing you as loud and stubborn. On the flip side, though, maintaining intellectual curiosity is exactly what builds lasting respect. It shows this incredibly rare, powerful blend of raw intellect and real emotional intelligence.
And the ultimate result of all this curiosity? Well, true social masters don't actually need to use giant $50 words or convoluted logic to prove they're smart. Honestly, they just sound normal.
Because they deeply, truly understand a subject, they can effortlessly simplify really complex ideas. Their goal isn't to make themselves sound smart, their goal is to make the people around them feel smart. They use their intellect to empower others, making the whole topic accessible and genuinely engaging to literally everyone in the room.
Now for Section 5, delaying your judgment.
So, how do we actually do this? Well, here is a super concrete 3-step methodology for leveraging your own intellectual humility in everyday life. Step 1. Delay your judgment. Look, instead of rushing to be the person who's right, just let ideas sit for a minute. Examine them from multiple angles before you even speak. Step 2. Ask yourself the hard questions. Specifically ask, okay, what am I missing here? Or, is this really the best explanation? Always assume there's a variable you just haven't seen yet. And finally, Step 3. Continuously self-check. Building this habit of intentionally monitoring your own thoughts, it drastically reduces your bias and keeps your inner logic incredibly sharp and highly reliable.
Ultimately, it really all comes down to this. Real genius isn't about having all the answers. It's about having the courage to admit where your knowledge ends. At the end of the day, you just have to be brutally honest with yourself. And why? Because you simply cannot fix what you refuse to see. True intelligence is fundamentally grounded in having the courage to actually face your own limitations so that you can genuinely improve.
So I want to leave you with a question to seriously chew on today. What have you had to unlearn to get smarter? Just think about a time when your absolute certainty was challenged, and you literally had to tear down an old belief just to make room for a better, truer one. It's a really uncomfortable process for sure, but as we've explored in this explainer today, it is the absolute hallmark of a high IQ. So keep rebuilding that mindset one truth at a time. Stay curious, and always keep that inner logic sharp. Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer.